say what a great night it was last night. Good to see Bill. Where are you? Over there? There. Congratulations again. There's a good reason why that trophy's called Above and Beyond. And that's all that needs to be said, isn't it, really? So President Tubb, executive members, branch representatives, thank you so much for inviting me along to your conference, to what is really a pretty auspicious year in your history, the 75th birthday, also of course the Queen's Jubilee year. It's great to be here this year because, as many of you might remember, I was scheduled to come last year. Unfortunately, due to a funeral, I couldn't attend, but Eric Roy certainly stood in on my behalf, and I was grateful that he did that. We were looking at last night and some of the history. The association has come a long way from the 1937 Deerstalkers dinner, when the idea of forming an association focused on the sport of deer stalking by Arthur Hamilton and Dr. Geoffrey Orwell was given the thumbs up. It has developed over the years a proud and strong connection with the outdoors New Zealand, and it is important to reflect on this connection, I think, today. For 75 years, your association has been a strong voice for its many members on relevant hunting issues as well as others. It's an introductory organisation for many aspiring hunters wishing to take up hunting as a sport. It's a long-time advocate and teacher of hunter safety, and the Hunter Understanding National Training Scheme is testimony to this commitment. I note that it is also the 25th anniversary of that program, which I understand and learnt more about from last night, was developed as a result of a discussion between Bob Geck and Bob Badland in a hospital prior to surgery. It is important to acknowledge the efforts of people, including the two Bobs, Hugh Redpath, Rob McMillan and Len Hubert in the early days, and of course Bill in more recent times, who ensured it was formally recognised. So it was just fantastic to be able to make the presentation last night of the first Hunts graduations or graduates, and quite a special occasion. Your association of course is more than that. It's an important participant in search and rescue and firearms licence testing in support of New Zealand Police, New Zealand Mountain Safety Council. It is a depository of much of New Zealand's hunting history through the NZDA Heritage Trust. Perhaps I learnt last night that there is such a thing as cartridge collections. I had never thought of cartridge collection as a hobby, but I was interested to hear about that. But as with most historical collections, the importance of this resource will only increase over time. And of course your association has an active and ongoing involvement in the development of policy and on-the-ground management of public conservation land, and I welcome that input. I was travelling back to Wellington last week and I was sitting near Davy Hughes, and he was kind enough to give me a copy of his latest book. It's Untamed, The Extraordinary Adventures of the Swazi Man to read. Amazing book. But he wrote a comment on it. He wrote a comment inside the book in Simon form, and it said, "Kate, life is one great big adventure. Grab one by the tail and hang on, girl." I thought that was pretty special. I have since been made aware that Davey is very supportive of the work that the association does, especially through the sponsorship of young shooters. I have nearly finished his book and believe that we are very fortunate in New Zealand to have a large number of good and passionate authors, such as Davey, of outdoor books, which provide inspiration and encouragement to others, and especially the young, to have great big adventures in our outdoors. I'm aware that many of these authors, such as Tony Orman, Chas Forsyth, the late Philip Holden, Alex Gale, the late John Anderson, Stuart Lang, Bruce Banwell, Graham Marshall, Hans Willems, to name just a few, all have strong links to NZDA. So I see your 75th birthday as an opportunity to acknowledge this positive work, which perhaps is often taken for granted or even forgotten. I'd like to thank Tim and previously Alec for ensuring that I am kept up to date with the issues which are important to your association. Our regular meetings are very useful. It's not always a matter of agreeing on issues, but actually being aware of the views of each other and the basis of these views, as well as opportunities for greater cooperation for mutual benefits. So it is pleasing to see the Game Animal Council Bill progress, and thanks to Bill again for his tireless work on the Game Animal Council Establishment Committee, and to the association through your membership for backing up this work with plenty of thoughtful submissions on the bill. I am convinced that the Game Animal Council will achieve positive results for both recreational hunting and also for conservation. At this stage, I'd also like to acknowledge the tireless and important work of the Associate Minister of Conservation, the Honourable Peter Dunn, on the Game Animal Council, as well as the challenging issues of heli hunting and wild animal recovery operations. Heli hunting is now called aerially assisted trophy hunting. Yeah, you get some words that you just can't say, and aerially is one that I have real difficulties with. I wish they'd call it something else, but never mind.
Stick to heli hunting then.
Yes. On that, I understand Minister Dunn will be talking to you later on this afternoon, and I'm willing to take questions after my address, but he will be more informed certainly on that particularly challenging topic. As mentioned at previous conferences, I am keen to see the relationship between DOC and your association continue to develop in a positive manner to the mutual benefit of both. I believe that DOC's National Hunting Advisor is critical to the ongoing development of this relationship, and I commend Ian Cooksley, who's just sitting over there, for his work over the last year. It is actually with great pleasure then that I can record that DOC and NZDA are increasingly working together on a range of projects. Throughout the country, branch members are assisting with hut, track and other structure maintenance or development, benefiting the wider outdoors community. Recent hut work in the Kaimai Ranges involving the Thames Valley branch has not only seen an improvement in several huts, but has resulted in overcoming some of the communication problems of the past. Many threatened species programs also benefit with both volunteer and financial input. The recent purchase of further stoat traps for blue duck protection in the Ruahine Range being an example of this. The Manawatu branch has been involved in this work for several years now, and it is an interesting example of several differing outdoors groups working with DOC on a common cause. More mainstream, in a way, is the involvement of NZDA in animal management issues, both on the ground and inputting to various planning forums. Your association's collective and individual experience in this field is much appreciated and certainly valued. New Zealand has a relatively good record of hunter safety, which is a topical issue. A reflection of past and present efforts, but recent efforts are a tragic reminder that there is always room for improvement. In this regard, DOC, NZDA and other agencies such as Police, Fish and Game and the New Zealand Mountain Safety Council are working on a new initiative to improve hunter safety. This multi-agency approach is aimed at enhancing the efforts in achieving hunter safety. The intention is not to replace the present programs, but where appropriate, to provide additional support. The group has met, and although it is early days, it has identified some actions where working together will strengthen the outcome. And we're hoping to be able to announce specific details about this initiative shortly. We just when everybody goes to work, I want everybody who goes to work in the morning to come home safely to their families. We also want hunters who go out to hunt and enjoy our outdoors to come home safely to their families. I'd like to take this opportunity to make a few comments about the future direction of conservation in New Zealand generally. As you are aware, the conservation portfolio contains significant responsibilities for conserving New Zealand's natural and historic resources, whilst also supporting and providing opportunities for New Zealanders' economic and social well-being. The Government is committed to sound management of our natural resources, which will help deliver both environmental and economic prosperity. This year, vote conservation has been set at $445 million. It's a reduction of $4 million on last year's budget. Like all government departments, DOC has to live within its means, but I have been assured the reduction will not affect priority conservation work. These are tough economic times, but DOC has responded by thinking about things differently and looking at ways to be more efficient and more effective and embracing the opportunity for change. DOC is maintaining its extensive pest control programs, which includes sustained possum control over 1 million hectares and sustained weed control over 1.8 million hectares. So DOC is also working smarter. $4 million has been invested in trialling traps that can reset themselves up to 12 times, which will reduce trap maintenance by 75% and over the long term have the potential to save millions of dollars. The work with protected species is actually growing. The Natural Heritage Management System, which we call NIMS, which nationally prioritises conservation work, is in the process of being implemented. It will allow DOC to increase the number of programs for threatened species from about 280 to 335 this year, which is actually the most ever. As part of NIMS, the department is also establishing the first of more than 1,300 representative sites across the country where native flora and fauna can be regularly monitored. This is the start of a world-leading long-term project that will allow DOC for the first time to collect comparative data on the state of biodiversity nationally. So after that brief sales pitch, in closing, I do wish to pick up on a quote that appeared in one of your branch's 25th anniversary booklets, Poverty Bay branch, which says, "Not only do anniversaries bring back memories of the past, but they make us peer into the future, and that is something valuable that comes from such a jubilee." So I look forward to your association and DOC continuing to work together on that future. I look forward to more meetings with you, Tim and Diane in Wellington, so that we can discuss areas of mutual interest with a view to consensus, but being also aware that consensus is not always possible. And I certainly wish you well for the rest of your conference and the years ahead. Thank you for your association. Thank you for your attention this morning, and all the best for a great conference. Happy to answer any questions.